And thanks for joining us today for this webinar. My name is Ivy Hesse, and I have here with me today Melwan Ansa. I'm the Secretary of the CFA Society Ghana and Chair of the Advocacy Committee. And Melwan is the Chair of the Education Committee, and he will be conducting the presentation today. I'll just be moderating the event. So in today's webinar, we'll be discussing the recent changes to the CFA exam structure and the mode of administration. I'm sure most of us, if you're already a candidate, you got the email somewhere last week. A lot of the changes, especially with the mode of administration, has been due to the COVID-19 pandemic and the impact on a lot of activities around the world. So we as a society decided that we needed to have a discussion with our candidates or prospective candidates about these changes, especially for those registered for the December and June exam. So we decided to host this webinar early enough so that those who need to make any changes and decisions will have enough time to do so. So by way of structure of this webinar, Melwan will do the presentation, the changes first. This should take about 25 minutes, and then we'll have a Q&A session coming on after that for about maybe 15 minutes. And as we go along, if you have any questions, there's a chat screen on your device, whether you're using your PC or the Zoom app on your phone. There's a chat window in there. And if you have any questions, please type it in there so that when we get to the Q&A session, I can read out your question for Melwan to address them. So that's it for a little bit of housekeeping. I'll now hand over to Melwan to begin the presentation, and then I'll be back during the Q&A session. So Melwan, you're on.
Thank you, Ivy, and good afternoon. Thank you once again for joining us for this webinar. As a matter of fact, it's a privilege, especially when we are compelled to talk to each other via some technology, and you have made time of your busy schedule. I assume that because you value the charter, that is why you're making a lot of time to listen to us. Now, this webinar has become important because the CFA Institute, of which the Ghana Society is a part of, has had to take a decision it really takes, because I don't remember ever hearing of CFA postponing its exams. It has at all times organized it. But just as our introduction suggests, now the pandemic is creating a lot of uncertainty. I mean COVID-19. And the numerous challenges it presents both students and organizations has compelled CFA to fast forward some part of its plans. It has had to modernize the exam to give accessibility to candidates around the globe, taking into consideration the health and safety of students. Because if you are familiar with the program, you recognize that it's a one-day exam, is organized in approximately every continent in this world and 192 locations. Everyone has to be at the exam center, and for 6 hours or so, level 1, level 2, level 3, that is for June, and also just for level 1 in December. So CFA is basically having to change in response to the times, the uncertainty of the times. So our presentation will basically look at what the CFA program itself looks like, because we'll assume that some part of our audience may be new to the entire CFA course itself. Okay, and then we'll talk about the exam changes for 2020, 2021, 2022. Okay, and then a few things that may come along. Okay, so basically in the investment process, you require an appreciation of the investment tools. So if you watch the screen, you will notice that from level 1 through to level 3, level 1 basically says you should have an appreciation of the investment tools. And then level 2, we look at application or analysis. And then level 3, it looks at evaluation. Now, if you watch just below the same screen, you'll find out that the investment tools are there. That's quantitative methods, economics, financial report and analysis, corporate finance, and then the green color, that's the asset classes, investment, equity investment, fixed income, derivatives, alternative investment, portfolio management is a wealth management and wealth planning. Now, you'll find out that they have certain colors. As it goes along, some of the colors virtually get away. And in all, at the core of it is ethics, which virtually tells you the value the CFA Institute places on ethics. So the investment tools is it's highly weighted in level 1, then valuation in level 2, and then level 3, world planning. Now, just to give you a context of why CFA, this is not new to CFA, the changes. CFA had its first exam in 1963, and it was just for 284 students. It was a single sitting, and it was for 2 hours, and for 2 hours, 2 separate sittings. That's just for one level, 2 hours and 15 minutes. Okay. Then in 1964, all 3 levels were administered. In other words, a year later, they broke it up into 3 levels. Now, in 1968, it was the first time that multiple choice came into the picture, and it was at level 1. And it was a time when the exam was extended to 5 hours, 15 minutes. Now, in 1981, the 6-hour exam that we are used to as at now was introduced. So it gives you a perspective that this is a body that keeps changing. Now, if you were to look at the current exam format, as I put it here, level 1 is multiple choice questions. Level 2 is Virginia support multiple choice. In other words, you have a case study and a set of questions follow, which could be either in a set of 4 or a set of 6. Level 3 is the same, but in level 3, paper 1 is basically for a written, an essay type of question, and then paper 2 is basically the vignette, the case study, the vignette model that is done in level 2. Now, interestingly, I've had to draw your attention to when you have your exam result, because it will become relevant since we are moving towards a computer-based one. Now, normally within 60 days of taking the exam, CFA will make the exam results available to you. That's basically for level 1, level 2. For level 3, it takes 90 days, approximately 90 days. And you can't get to level 2 if you haven't passed level 1. And you can't get to level 3 if you haven't passed level 2. And the pass rate, as we have it, is averagely, let's say, close to half. I don't want it to look like it's too scary. Close to half. And the highest pass rate is always in level 3. But between level 1, level 2, the pass rate is relatively the same, though 43 and 45%. So now let's compare the paper-based one and the computer-based one, and let's see what is going to happen. Now, it's a one-day event for paper. For computer-based, you have a multiple of them, but you have a window period in which you can reschedule, but it comes at a cost. And within that window period, you are required to write the exam. Now, currently we have 192 locations globally that organize the exam. If we were to move, as we are moving to computer-based exams, we'll have 400 plus locations, including the existing locations for the exam. Then comes another advantage. Instead of having a 3-hour session with break-in, the computer-based, you're going to have 2 hours, that's 2 hours, 25 minutes session for level 1. And it's just say, the first paper will be about that same time, the second paper will be about the same time. But there will be breaks within, which is optional. Now, this amount of time is going to guide the level 3, the level 2 and level 3 going forward. It was actually going to be that on the computer-based one. So let's see how the exam cycle will look like, the part that I'm sure most of you comes across. So December, the June one that was cancelled, fortunately, everyone who registered is supposed to write comes this December. So December will be the last time we'll have a paper-based exam, unless otherwise CFA changes its mind. But at the moment, if you intend to write the paper-based one, the only option available is in December. Now, February, level 1 starts. The computer-based one starts for just level 1. Then in May, Level 1, level 2, level 3 would go all computer based, the month of May. Then in August, you would have level 1 and level 2. Then in November, you have level 1 and level 3. Now, the policy of CFA is that you should spend approximately 6 to 9 months in preparation. So you just can't have level 1 in February, okay? And then you have level 2 in May. Now, this is the reason. You take the 60 days it will take even to mark your scripts. Chances are that you are going to get it somewhere late April. The likelihood that the exam window is open is very slim. So you are more likely to write in August. But the policy of CFA is that you don't write in adjacent windows. In other words, if you write in February, you can write in August. If you write in May, you can write in November. Probably let's see how the exam will look properly, fully when it is gone, the computer base takes full shape in a full calendar year. In 2022, level 1 will be offered every quarter. But for level 2 and level 3, it will be offered in alternate quarters. So if you have it in May, you won't have it. If you have a level 2 in May, you have level 3 in May. They will alternate. Level 3 will be in. So in 2022, you will find out that in February we have level 2, but in May we have level 3. Okay. Then when it comes to August, you have level 2 and you have level 3 in November. So you will have the alternate. You won't have every quarter having all the exam. No, it is only level 1 that will be in 4 times in a year. So let's see the path of someone who currently is a level 1 candidate and is seeking to pursue the CFA charter. So you do your paper-based one. Fortunately, you pass. You would move on to May to write the exam. That's May 2021. And fortunately, when you pass, you can write in November, not in August. Because remember, August, you only have level 2 for 2021. And fortunately, when you pass, you have the charter when you become a member of the society. Now, unfortunately, if someone fails, then the person can write level 1 again in May. Remember, level 1 is organized 4 times in a year. Now, if fortunately the person passes level 1 in May, remember level in August, there's if you permit me to go back for 2021, the person passes in May. The likelihood that the person will write in August will be slim. Okay, but if you were to go back, you will see that the person can go on. That is, he passes in February, goes on to August, and then goes on to May. You see what happens. So if you go to level 1 in February, you go to level 2 in August, and then you go on to the next year. If you go to level 1 August, then you would have to wait for probably 6 months more for you to be able to write the next one, because it will not just be in the next quarter. So let's see what happens if I were to write level 1 in May 2021. When I pass, I can write in February, not in November. February 2020. Because of the adjacent, I will skip November and I'll write in February 2022. Then when I pass, I can't write in August. I would have to write in November, meeting the 6 months, minimum of 6 months period. So that's the path of someone. So now you go to level 2 at the moment, it's virtually the same. It's just that you will have a shorter length of time. You get it in December, you write in May, the level 3, because it will be organized in May, which is approximately 6 months. Approximately, no, not exactly, approximately. In May, you can write. But if you were to write in May 2021, okay, you have to skip August and get to November, even though there'll be an August level 2 exam being organized. Okay, sorry, there'll be no level 3 in August next year. It will either be in December, May and December. But if you are fortunate to be in level 3, then voila, hopefully you pass and then you have your charter. But if not, then you continue to May. If for whatever reason you are deferring to May, then you can only write again in November. So this is how the path will look like. But you see, there are a few things that you need to take notice of. The level 1 computer-based exam will be offered 4 times per year. The level 2 and level 3 computer-based exam will be offered twice per year. The frequency for level 1 is 4 times, that of 2 and 3 is just twice. Now, candidates who have registered for June may revert to December paper exam or select any of the available 2021 computer-based options. Now, please note the third point I have put there. In making your decision about an exam date, please consider government and health advisories in your test area. CFA Institute would adhere to the guidelines of local government. CFA Institute plans to hold exams in any location where it can meet the applicable public health and safety requirements. I think from here it is clear that even the December one is subject to a government regulation that it is safe enough for the location to hold the exam. So CFA has made an option available. It says, if you were to postpone from June 2020 and the exam you subsequently registered for is postponed as well, you have the option to defer again or request for a refund. But just note, the last one is actually just for those who are fresh people who are registered. It says the one-time 450 enrollment fee that is new for a new level 1 candidate may not be refunded. So this is what I would like to bring to attention. At this point, I'd like to assume that your questions are ready, and therefore I'll defer to Ivy. Thank you.
So the first question we have is from Michael. And Michael is saying that I registered for the December 2020 level 1 exam and wish to move that to February 2021. Please, will I be able to write the level 2 exam in the same year, say December 2021, if I pass the level 1?
Okay, so if we were to go back to the calendar, you will notice that if you were to write in February, yes, there's an opportunity to write in August for level 2 because it would have met the 6-month window. So yes, even in 2021, it's still possible. So it's possible. It's possible to write in February next year and write level 2 because it would have met the minimum of 6 months. Remember what I mentioned earlier. You should at least have spent 6 to 9 months between testing windows. That is a CFA policy. Okay, so he can't do it in the same year.
Okay, so the next question is from Salam. And he's saying, does the computer-based system mean the exam results will be instant?
Okay, now if you were to go back to the slide, which if you don't mind, I will share again. Remember, exam results availability. Now, the multiple choice ones is machine marked, is not by individuals. And the level 3 has the essay part. Now, CFA uses what we call a minimum pass score. And then they have there's a particular model they use in setting the minimum pass score. That pass score is set by the board of CFA. So that approach has not changed. And therefore, this particular one, even if though you can do the exam, you will still have to wait patiently within that period of 60 days for level 1, 60 days for level 2, and 90 days for level 3. So the computer-based exam would allow you to have frequency a bit more, but it doesn't mean that your results will be instant. It will still go through the same process of determining the minimum pass mark, the same approach. So it won't change at the moment, unless otherwise CFA has a different model yet to be developed. The current model is what will stand.
Okay, So still from Salam, he's saying, will the new computer-based system mean a change in the exam duration?
Okay, so the duration of the exam, if you actually look at the history of CFA I gave you, it began actually for 2 hours, 15 minutes per session. Now, with the new model, with the computer-based one, we'll be reverting back to that. What will happen is that take the level 1 exam, which was about 240 questions. That is 120 for paper 1, 120 for paper 2. That's the morning and afternoon. It was approximately 3 hours per session. Well, let me say it was 3 hours. Now, it's going to be reduced to approximately 180 questions, with some bit of the questions being a trial. But the psychometricians who advise CFA have established that after 180 questions, you can tell whether a student is good enough to pass. So the exam duration is going to reduce because the exam content, that is the set of questions, is also going to reduce. So you will notice that the amount of time when we're comparing will be, it's going to be approximately 2 hours, 25 minutes per session. Okay. And then for level 1, that is for paper 1, paper 2. So the exam is going to be approximately 4 hours, 50 minutes. Now this is going to guide the level 1, so level 2 and level 3. Now, the reason why it's going to guide is because at the moment I'm unable to tell the exact number of questions, because I know even for the Viginet, sometimes you have 4, sometimes you have 6 questions. What I know is that the amount of time will be approximately the same going forward.
Okay, so still from Salam, for those that had their exams rescheduled because of COVID-19, will there be a curriculum change for them?
No, the curriculum is not changing. It's the same. The curriculum is not changing.
Even if it's in you're writing in 2021?
CFA is not changing
Okay.
within that period. It's not. The curriculum is not changing.
And then we have a question from Alexander, and he says, can I register for level 3 even though I haven't done level 2?
No, it's not possible. You would have to pass level 1. You have to meet the requirements even to be administered into to CFA, which is a degree, or you should be about completing a degree, or you should have 4 years of relevant career experience, which gives a basis to suggest that you can pursue the learning. So you must pass level 1, you must pass level 2, and you must pass level 3. As a matter of fact, even if you pass level 1, because of the 6 month minimum of 6 months to 9 months window period, you just can't just move from level 1 and just jump even to level 3 if it's just that one available. You must go through 1, 2, and 3 gradually.
Okay, so essentially you have to pass one level before you can register for the next level. If you haven't passed the previous level, you cannot register for a next level. So that means that if you haven't written level 2 at all, you can't jump from 1 and register for 3.
That is it.
Yeah.
That is it.
Okay.
That is it.
The next question is from Joshua, and he is asking whether the new arrangement affects exam fees.
No, the exam fees remain the same. Standard exam fee for CFA is $700. And remember, the enrollment fee, which is $450, as I understand now, has not changed. So whoever paid that enrollment fee, like I mentioned, that enrollment fee will be kept for you any day you want to come and write. It's a one-off payment, but the registration keeps changing. And the registration standard, that's for early bird. Early birds pay $700 at the moment. And it's going, I think it's the same for even up to 2021 December, if I'm not mistaken. But and then the standard one is $1,000 for. So computer-based hasn't changed the exam fee yet. It hasn't.
So the next question is from Ebenezer, and I think we've addressed this, but I'll just read it out anyway, and then if there's any ambiguity around it, we can clear it. And he's saying that in the event that one fails February level 1, 2021 exams, can one immediately resit May level 1, 2021 exam?
Okay. Now, remember, we mentioned that it takes approximately 60 days for CFA to bring the results. And it requires that you give yourself approximately 6 to 9 months to prepare. Now, it is difficult to say how you would be able to register when the results come up, probably somewhere April. And you're writing probably the first Saturday in May. I don't foresee how that is feasible, but it's available, the immediate quarter. And I'm sure within that period, it will be less than 6 months or approximately. So you still can write probably in August and not May, because the time period will be too short, to the best of my understanding. Given the 6 to 9 months period that is normally required, it's actually to the advantage of the student. You require some amount of time. It is estimated that you need approximately 300 hours to learn the material. Okay, so I don't see how within that short period of probably late April or probably probably early April, you'll be able to cover all that within a month to go and write. So probably he would have to consider August 2021.
Okay, so the next question is from Priscilla. And she is asking if they are supposed to take the exam online, is it going to be at a data center? I don't know what she means by a data center.
That is if I understand your question, Ivy.
Yeah.
Say probably a location where people go, and it's like any location where people go and take SAT. No, this one will be a center that will have invigilators. So it is not going to be just any place. It's not as if that just go to any the website is there, just go and log on. No, because just like we said, the locations that currently have it would run, and there are 400 locations or plus. So it means that they've specifically chosen areas, not just any data center. So it will just not be any data center. There will be specifically designated areas you have to go for the exam, because there'll be proctors. CFA is not looking at like home type of online exam where you could just be on your home. As a matter of fact, they will check for cheating. They will find because CFA is very particular about maintaining the standard of the exams. So the way they've been rigorous with the paper-based one, they will still focus on the computer-based one. As a matter of fact, they put in a lot of security measures to ensure that the quality and the value placed on it is not compromised. Remember, the CFA charter is a jewel of CFA Institute, and it would do everything to protect this brand. Okay.
Okay, so just to add a little bit to that and put it in context. Now, the CFA Institute has a CFA charter and the CIPM certificate exams. The CIPM certificate exam is already administered online and is done at Prometric test centers around the world. So in Ghana, for instance, when you go to Total House, there's a test center there and they administer that exam. So just like if you're going to write a GMAT, you schedule with the organization that runs it and then schedule the exam with the exam center locally. You do the same thing with the new format for the CFA exam administration. So it's going to be something similar. The next question is from Cynthia. And she is saying, will I be given the opportunity to sit for the exams the next year if my test center is not able to conduct the test in December?
Oh, sure. As a matter of fact, if for whatever reason, even for those in June, remember, you even have the option of refund. You can reschedule. Now for rescheduling, you can. It gives you the permission, the opportunity to reschedule. And they take it upon themselves that if they have to defer, which means that, remember what I mentioned earlier, For those who, for health reasons, local governments will not permit the organization of the exam in December, it will be shifted to the computer-based one, or you can request for a refund. So that one, she has the option of deferring, especially when it is actually CFA that could not allow her to take the exam. She can defer. And then there's always the additional window. You know, the computer-based one gives a 10-day period for the exam. So you can shift within the window, but it comes at a cost of $250.
The next question is from Bernard, and he wants to know when the deadline is for early bird for February 2021. So please keep checking the CFA Institute website. That's where you get the most current information as things evolve. The last question I have here is from Neil. And he says that he tried scheduling the exam for February, but the only test center he has in there is IPMC, East Legon. Is that the only test center available?
At the moment, I don't have all the test centers. What I do know is that Ghana will definitely have a test center. We haven't been told exactly how many centers. So if there are more available, CFA will definitely update us. But what I do know is that Ghana will definitely have a place to have the exam organized. I can't tell you exactly which of them. What I know is that we'll have a place in Ghana for which you can write for all the periods that CFA has advertised.
Okay, so that's the last question we have. And as I mentioned again, things are very fluid now. And so we are likely to see more test centers come up. So we should expect that with time, we'll have more test centers in Ghana as well. So currently, maybe you have only one because we just started. But looking at the numbers as we go forward, they may open up new centers with organizations on the ground to make it more convenient for us to write the exams. I'll hand over for your last comments or thoughts before we wrap up.
Okay. Just as we began, for us, CFA making the changes is a plus. It's a plus because CFA is a forward-looking institution. It had been planning to make the exam more accessible to a lot of people before COVID showed up. So it only enabled it to fast track. Now, I'll encourage all of you to begin to rethink and begin to see that the value of the qualification is not going to change. As a matter of fact, I anticipate that CFA is going to make it more rigorous because it must preserve the credential, the CFA. That standard that ensures that we are ethical and therefore we have the competence to manage people's money. It will not compromise on it. But I still want to remind you of a few more things before I leave. The final things that I think you should take. Okay? Just please bear in mind that for whatever reason, December will be organized, but subject to the local government's guidelines. And I think we all shouldn't joke with COVID. Then, if you're also like me and you're not too sure, you can ask for a refund. But just know that you won't get your 450 if you're a first timer. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, everyone, for your time and for joining us. You can still send in any questions that you have. Questionnaire that we set up, the survey form we set up for questions. If you still have any questions that have not been answered, you can still drop it in there. It's still open. And then we'll respond via email. Remember to give us your email, valid email, so that we can respond to any questions that you may have after this session. I'd like to thank you for making time to join us and for participating in this webinar. And I hope you join us for subsequent webinars as we go along. And I wish you all the best during your exams, that when you finish, you also decide to join the Ghana Society and support our efforts in developing our capital market in Ghana. See you in the next webinar. Bye for now.
Okay, bye.